Hey guys, thanks so much for checking out my show. Really appreciate everybody for checking out my content. Appreciate everybody who has subscribed. In this episode, I'm getting into the latest in the Nancy Guthrie investigation. First of all, there is this new report out from Reuters, Reuters news agency, who is reporting that they have a source saying that the FBI has determined that the ransom notes, that all of the ransom notes essentially connected to the Nancy Guthrie case are not real, which is interesting. I don't have any sources telling me that, but I've told you guys before, I also don't have sources telling me that they think they are 100% real. What I have been told is that, all possibilities have to stay on the table right now, and they haven't been able to confirm it either way. Although if you look at my show and you go back and look at a lot of the...
On July 2nd, 2026, the statutory deadline for the Department of Justice to release millions of pages of Jeffrey Epstein records came and went. The government's official response? Silence, followed by a technicality.
Experts and the retired profilers who I've interviewed and people like that. Most of them have been very skeptical of the ransom notes since the beginning and have thought that they don't necessarily...
They missed the deadline.
Make sense, that there was never any proof of life, and they have just sort of been skeptical of them, really since we started talking.
A tiny fraction of what was promised has actually seen the light of day. Before we go deeper into what the documents actually show, make sure you're subscribed to Audit the Case, because we don't just cover the story, we follow the evidence. This is the moment where bureaucratic incompetence collides with the ugliest reality of American power. The public is told to wait, again. Survivors are told to be patient, again. But patience is a luxury for those who don't understand what's hidden in those files. And what's hidden, according to every credible account, is the
first one that came that had some specific information about the inside of Nancy's house, and then the second one that said that Nancy died. Those are the ones.
Or is this simply the incompetence of a bloated?
But now there is this Reuters report saying that they have a source who claims that the ransom notes are now not being viewed.
Map of complicity that stretches from the Caribbean to the
as real by the FBI, which, again, I'm just not sure how you could say that either way right now if there's no suspect.
Halls of Congress. The Justice Department isn't just slow, they are protecting the most powerful pedophiles in America. That's not hyperbole. That's the conclusion you're forced to draw when you watch the clock run out on accountability. The law was clear, the deadline was concrete. And yet, here we are. The same DOJ that moves with lightning speed to prosecute political opponents suddenly develops a collective amnesia when it comes to the Epstein network. It's a pattern as old as the institution itself. When the powerful are involved, the machinery of justice grinds to a halt. When the powerless are involved, it moves at the speed of a firing squad. The irony is so thick you could cut it with a grand jury subpoena. But this story isn't just about Epstein. It's about the man who has promised to burn the whole thing down. Jack Smith, the former special counsel, has made his position unequivocal. In a deposition that has just been released, Smith didn't just criticize the FBI, he torched them. He expressed absolute confidence in the criminal investigation into election subversion while simultaneously watching the Epstein files gather dust.
The fact that they were able to get that hair from inside Nancy's house, that rootless hair, and other DNA samples.
They have the DNA.
Where do things stand? We talked about it all the time, we heard about it all the time, and then it just kind of went away. He's going to explain what the delay may be, and it actually...
And they have done nothing with it.
This is apparently still a thing. They still would like to do the search, and they still haven't gotten permission from the Pima County Sheriff's Office. Okay, let me get into the DNA now. Questions about where things stand. We know that there's this rootless hair that was found in Nancy's house, that we know that there was DNA found that does not belong to Nancy or anyone within her inner circle. What is taking so long?
Because the system isn't broken.
Yes. So, DNA, like all information, has a certain content, and the shorter the pieces of DNA that we're recovering, the shorter the matches to databases, the longer it takes. So it's kind of like if we found, an envelope in the street and a bunch of the letters on the address were.
Let's talk about the ticking clock. Every day that passes without a full release of the Epstein files is another day that powerful people can destroy evidence, intimidate witnesses, and coordinate their stories. The question isn't whether they are protecting someone, the question is who, and that question becomes more urgent with each passing hour. Are we at the point where a cover-up is the only logical explanation?
So what we know about in this case is that they have one common challenge, which is they're calling it a mixed sample. And that just means more than one person contributed. It could be two people, or it could be a
The system is selective. The
complex mixture. Generally, we start calling it that at three. And at that point, it's not like an envelope with the address partially there. It's like a bowl of Scrabble letters, and you can a lot of potential people can match the small amount of information you have from a small piece of DNA, and in a mixture, it's complicated because
law is a tool, and justice is a commodity. That is the lesson of the Epstein file delay, and it's the lesson that Jack Smith is.
there's several people's small chunks of DNA. And you end up having to go through a lot of leads. So if they're getting a hit, if they have data, which I assume by now from both the mixed stain people are talking about and the hair fragment, they have data, and it's probably either partial data or not well represented in the database. So it's either.
A tiny fraction of what was promised has actually seen the light of day. Before we go deeper into what the documents actually show, make sure you're subscribed to Audit the Case, because we don't just cover the story, we follow the evidence. This is the moment where bureaucratic incompetence collides with the ugliest reality of American power. The public is told to wait, again. Survivors are told to be patient, again. But patience is a luxury for those who don't understand what's hidden in those files. And what's hidden, according to every credible account, is a.
Yeah, I mean, as I said, if it were German, Scandinavian, British roots, they're very well represented in the databases. And I'm not sure about particular, Hispanic populations. Those are going to vary in different places and how represented they are. We studied, for example, the Basque population, a European population here in Idaho, and compared them to pockets around the world. Well, there's several people who are experts in the Basque population DNA. So it depends.
Just about Epstein. It's about the man who has promised to burn the whole thing down. Jack Smith, the former special counsel, has made his position unequivocal. In a deposition that has just been released, Smith didn't just criticize the FBI, he torched them. He expressed absolute confidence in the criminal investigation into election subversion while simultaneously watching the Epstein files gather dust. The contrast couldn't be more stark. One investigation is a sprint, the other is a burial, and the man holding the shovel appears to be the same institution that is supposed to uphold the law. The victims of Jeffrey Epstein are not abstract figures. They are real people who have been waiting for justice for over a decade. They have watched their abusers walk free. They have watched wealthy lawyers like Richard Kahn and Darren Indyke distribute hush money from the Epstein Trust. They have watched the FBI sit on evidence that could expose the network of enablers, and now they are watching the DOJ miss a deadline that was supposed to be their moment of reckoning. This isn't a conspiracy theory, it's a documented fact. The flight manifests of the Lolita Express are public. The names on those manifests, Bill Clinton, Prince Andrew, Alan Dershowitz, are a who's who of the political and legal establishment. And yet the full picture remains obscured. The FBI has the data, they have the phone records.
Mhm.
How much more complicated does that make it if there's no root on the hair? And like, why is that important?
So our hair is mostly a protein called keratin, and trapped within that are broken dead cells with broken DNA.
And they have done nothing with it.
So I think that's probably what's taking a long time. And we don't know if any of this evidence is probative. We don't know if the DNA they have was actually from a
Mm.
person who committed a crime, or if it's a cleaning person, or somebody who made furniture that they bought or whatever.